Hello, welcome to the class on veterinary anatomy created by Professor Govind Narayan Purohit from GNP Sir classes, who is today going to explain the skeleton of the domestic animals. To completely understand, watch this lecture completely where difficult things are explained very easily. Here are the contents. We are going to discuss the pectoral limb, forelimb, starting from the scapula to the digits and hoof. So here is a general overview. The two types of skeletons in vertebrates are axial skeleton, includes the skull, vertebral column, spine, and rib cage. And the appendicular skeleton, which includes the forelimbs, hind limbs, and the pectoral and pelvic girdles. The total number of bones in the skeleton of ox are 208, in horse 200, dog 291, pig 274, rabbit 229, and fowl 169 bones. The details of the different bones in different animal species are further explained in this table. The number of bony segments varies between species and can even differ between young and adult animals of the same species due to bone fusion or disappearance during development. The skeleton, the appendicular skeleton, consists of the bones that support the limbs and attach them to the rest of the body. It comprises the bones that form the framework of the pectoral, forelimbs, and pelvic, hind limbs, including the structures that attach the limbs to the trunk, pectoral and pelvic girdles. The pectoral girdle and shoulder region includes the scapula, coracoid, and the scapula. The arm includes the humerus bone, the forearm comprises of the radius and ulna bone, and the manus includes the carpus, metacarpus, and the digital bones. In the domestic animals, that is the ox, horse, pig, dog and fowl, the significant modifications are 1. The absence of a typical pectoral girdle and only scapula being well developed in the 5 mammals, all 3 bones are present in the fowl. 2. Ulna is reduced and fused to radius in ox and horse. 3. Extensive modifications in the bones of the manus, i.e. carpus, metacarpus and digits, with 2 well-developed digits in the ox, sheep and goat and pig, only 1 in the horse, all 5, first reduced, in the dog and 3 in the fowl. The pelvic limb, hind limb, include the pelvic girdle and hip region, which is formed by the ilium, ischium, and pubis bones, the thigh formed by femur bone, the leg formed by tibia and fibula bones, and the pes comprising of tarsal, metatarsal, and digital bones. In our today's talk we will focus on the pectoral limb, and we start discussing the bones. The first bone is the scapula. The scapula is a flat, triangular bone situated on the anterolateral aspect of the thorax, and is directed obliquely downward and forward. It has 2 surfaces, 3 borders, and 3 angles. In the ox, scapula is large and triangular, and the clavicle is absent. It is connected to the axial skeleton only by muscles. You can see in the picture the notable features of the scapula: the supraspinous fossa, the infraspinous fossa, the scapular spine, the subscapular fossa, the glenoid cavity, the acromion process, and tuber scapulae. In sheep and goats, the scapula has a longer vertebral border and narrower neck. The scapular spine is less prominent and the glenoid extremity is longer. In the horse scapula, the acromion process is absent and is shown in the picture. The subscapular fossa is deeper. The horse scapula also has a glenoid notch on the anteromedial aspect of the rim. It has larger tuber scapulae. As shown in the picture, the pig has a very wide scapula with a triangular and wide scapular spine, and a large tuber spine. The acromion process is rudimentary and the glenoid notch is absent. The dog has a small and cartilaginous clavicle, when present, and the scapular spine increases in height towards the glenoid cavity. The coracoid process is absent in the dog. In the rabbit scapula, the caudal process, metacromion process, is elongated along with the acromion process. The fowl has a clavicle, coracoid, and scapula. Clavicles unite ventrally to form the furcula, wishbone. The coracoid is rod-like with a hook-like process medially. The scapula is narrow and saber-shaped. Now let's discuss the next bone, the humerus. The humerus is a long bone positioned obliquely downward and backward between the shoulder and elbow joints. The ox humerus has a twisted shaft with 4 surfaces. As shown in the picture, the notable features are the deltoid tuberosity, musculospiral groove, lateral and medial tuberosities, bicipital groove, condyles, epicondyles, coronoid fossa, and ulna non-fossa. In sheep and goats the humerus is longer and slender than in ox. Horse humerus has a more prominent deltoid tuberosity. As clear from the picture, the bicipital groove is divided by intermediate ridge. The summit of the lateral tuberosity does not arch inwardly. The coronoid and ulna non-fossae are shallower compared to the ox. The pig humerus resembles the italic letter F. It has equal-sized condyles and a prominent coronoid fossa. The teres tubercle is absent. The dog humerus has a shallow musculospiral groove and a low ridge-like deltoid tuberosity. In the fowl humerus lie parallel to the thoracic vertebrae when the wing is at rest. The next bone is the radius. The radius bone is the larger and shorter of the two forearm bones. In the ox the radius has a flattened shaft with two surfaces and two borders. In the sheep and goats the radius is larger and more curved compared to the ox. The horse radius has a rough elevation for the radial check ligament and a more prominent radial tuberosity. The radius bone in dogs is generally smaller and slender, and the rabbit radius bone is similar to that of the dog. The fowl radius is a slender bone in the forearm, nearly parallel to the humerus. Now let's discuss ulnar bone. The ulna is a long bone located on the posterolateral aspect of the radius in the forearm. It supports the forearm and facilitates movement at the elbow joint. In the ox the ulna is typically fused with the radius in adult animals, except at the interosseous spaces. As shown in the picture, it features a triangular shaft with distinct dorsal, medial, and lateral surfaces. The proximal extremity is dominated by the ulna non process for triceps muscle attachment. The semilunar notch articulates with the humerus at the elbow. The horse ulna is shorter, reaching only the distal third of the radius. It forms only the proximal radio-ulnar arch. The picture shows that the dog ulna is well developed, and crosses the volar face of the radius with a narrow interosseous space. The pig ulna has a large proximal extremity with a prominent ulna non process. The rabbit ulna is similar to that of the dog. The fowl ulnar bone is larger and thicker than the radius, and curved in shape. Now let's talk about the carpal bones. The carpus, wrist, comprises a series of short, irregular bones arranged in two rows, the proximal and the distal. It provides flexibility and support to the wrist joint. The figure of the ox carpus shows that it consists of 6 bones arranged in 2 rows, 4 in the proximal and 2 in the distal row. Specific names given to the different carpals, such as the radial carpal is also known as scaphoid, are shown in the table for memorizing the specific names and features of the carpals. The picture here shows that the horse has 7 or 8 carpal bones, including a variable wrist carpal also called trapezium. As is clear from the picture, the dog has 7 carpal bones with radial and intermediate carpals fused together. The rabbit has 9 carpal bones and the fowl has 2 free carpal bones. The lower row bones fuse with carpus to form the carpometacarpal bone. The metacarpal bones. The metacarpals are long bones that connect the carpus to the digits. The metacarpus of the ox consists of a large metacarpal, fused third and fourth, and a lateral small metacarpal, fifth, which is rudimentary. The horse has 1 large metacarpal, third, and 2 small metacarpals, splints. The pig has 4 metacarpals, dog and rabbits have 5 metacarpals. The digits. The digits are composed of phalanges, finger, toe bones. Number of digits and phalanges varies significantly between species. The ox has 4 fully developed digits, third and fourth, with 3 phalanges each. The horse has 1 digit with 3 phalanges. The pig has 2 chief digits and 2 accessory digits. The dog and rabbit have 5 digits each, and the fowl has 3 digits. The sesamoid bones. The sesamoids are small, embedded bones within tendons. They improve the joint function and reduce the stress. The proximal sesamoids are present in most species, varying in number and arrangement. The distal sesamoids are also known as the navicular bone. They are absent in some species, for example the distal sesamoids in the fowl. The phalanges. The first phalanx of the ox is called os suffraginis. The second phalanx, os coronae, is also known as the navicular bone. The third phalanx in the ox is also called os pedis. This picture shows the phalanges of the ox. One can easily visualize the first to third phalanx of the ox along with the sesamoid bones in the volar view. The horse phalanges are shown in the above picture. Each phalanx appears like the combined corresponding phalanges of the ox. The sesamoid bones have species differences. They are shuttle-shaped in the horse, smaller in the pig, and cartilaginous in the dog. The horse hoof is shown here. It has the components of wall, sole, and frog. It is composed of keratinized epithelial cells. Hope the lectures was easy to understand and useful. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to comment, like, share and subscribe to GNP Sir official YouTube channel for more similar content. Bye, see you in our next video.